Before we begin, it is important to acknowledge that we are discussing ancestral, traditional, and contemporary homelands of the Dakota. In fact, Minnesota is derived from the Dakota phrase Minnesota Makoche, which in Dakota means land of the sky-tinted waters. Through the treaties of 1837 and 1851, the U.S. government seized Ojibwe and Dakota land across Minnesota. Specifically, the treaties of Traverse des Sioux and Mendota in 1851 opened land west of what is commonly known as the Mississippi River, allowing pioneers to invade what is now Eden Prairie. We acknowledge Eden Prairie is located on traditional, ancestral, and contemporary Dakota homelands. By offering this statement, we begin the healing process and commit to educating ourselves about the land we are on, recognizing, supporting, collaborating with, and advocating for Indigenous people.
Minne-Wakan is the word. It's M-N-I-W-A-K-A-N, and it means sacred water. The reason that it was called Minne-Wakan really is there was a huge outbreak, and it happened at Fort Snelling. You can look it up, but this epidemic broke out, and the women who were living in the area near Fort Snelling took the water from the spring and used it to help cure the soldiers at Fort Snelling. So it was used as a medicine. You know, it was good, clean water. We have always considered the water our very first medicine.
The Fredrick Miller Spring has been a community resource long before it was named as such. According to Eden Prairie's website, the earliest recorded mentions of springs and seeps around what is now Eden Prairie come from mid-19th century government surveys and the diaries and memoirs of the area's first Euro-American settlers. Based on these sources, it is known that springs and seeps occurred in relative abundance in the Minnesota River Valley areas, and these sources of clean water were highly sought after. William Fredrick moved the spring access to its current location and built a wooden tank to contain the spring's water flow in 1880. Arthur Miller acquired the spring in 1968 and donated it to the city of Eden Prairie in 1969. While many continue to visit this site to get their drinking water, its purity is beginning to decline. Phosphates and nitrates, as well as other runoff from encroaching development, has already affected the spring, leaving many wondering for how long will this water remain drinkable. With a new development proposal on the table at City Council, that purity promises to decline even further. The housing proposal is headed up by Pulte Homes, a national housing developer who has made a bid for purchasing the land adjacent to the Fredrick Miller Spring site. Pulte Homes has been embroiled in controversy since 2008, with lawsuit after lawsuit stacked against them and their poor construction practices. The builder already has developments all over the Twin Cities, Minnesota area, and when asked about this particular development, they had this to say. What they failed to mention is that this development will only provide 50 homes to the area that would be priced above other homes nearby, which begs the question, who is this development serving?
name is Justin D'Angelo. I found out about this project the day before the planning committee meeting. I attended the planning committee meeting and I heard about the project and how little science there was to back up any of the decisions that were being made to build this development. And it frankly just made me angry that we could do all this without any proof of what it's going to do, without any worry about the consequences.
Hello, my name is Teresa Hallinan, also known as Willow Terry. I am a strong activist with the Fredrick Miller Spring and Friends.
Hi, welcome. How long have you been coming to Spring? No way.
When I realized the spring was under threat, I decided I needed to inform everyone else. And I know the volume of people that come through the spring, and I was very concerned that they would not know what's happening.
For me, I started drinking spring water here in the city of Minneapolis because I was living in community settings, and I was shown the way through my friends that were living alternative lifestyles, co-housing, collective living. That's where I first encountered this beautiful water resource. And then I got the message that we're gonna lose our water source. And I'm like, whoa, what? Snap me out of the thing, and I'm like, all right, I need to get involved.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Westrom. I'm a resident of Eden Prairie, and I find this spring extremely spiritual and an advocacy for mental health. I think we sometimes overlook the value of the environment and the ecosystem as an intricate part for our mental health. And so do this with my family locally and really pass that word of how the sustainability of our energy can be done through the messages of the water, and really advocate for that.
I've been working on cold water since 1993, but unless you could jump down into a spring house and then double and get the water as it's coming out of the rocks. And besides, the National Park Service clear cut, which is like an environmental apostasy. You never take trees out from around a spring because spring water requires shade or else it dries up.
And you're going to build houses it's pointed out to me that it is tied to the cultural institutionalized racism that we're experiencing. And people are taught to be afraid of the communities that are uprising because they're tired of being beaten, they're tired of being killed. They keep asking, why are you trying to kill us? Why do you keep trying to kill us? Right? Now everyone is taught to be afraid of it, so they want to get a nice house out in the suburbs somewhere, right? They want to get into a $600,000 to $900,000 suburban home. And the companies that are building it are vertically integrated. They're financing, it seems like, their own work. And they're putting out the mortgages on all their stuff. And all these people are not millionaires moving around the property. They are people that are leveraged to get into the property. And they're 1 or 2 paychecks away from losing that property. And we're doing all this when we could be saving biodiversity.
What do you see this looking like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road if we continue to develop out this piece?
Well, right here, I would say short term, you're going to see a lot of sediment in the creek. You're going to see the creek bed rise up and expand, causing more erosion along the bank of the creek. Once development's done, I'm guessing that these new homes aren't going to want a wooded lot with scrub everywhere. I'm guessing they want nice grass and fertilizer and sprinkler systems. Over time, you're going to see all that come down the watershed.
in building our mounds on the top of the bluffs would give a view to our relatives who were making their way back to the stars, kind of a view of where they were going. And the road to the star, back to the star world, is the Milky Way. You know, we call it the Road of Ghosts, Wanagi, Chanku. All of these areas are areas of importance to Dakota people. We're talking about Minnesota Makoche. It is our homeland for over 12,000 years, but it is also your homeland, right? This is where you live. The things that happen in our state to water, to land. So we have to be really thoughtful about the decisions that people make about our place.